Hello YouTube, it's Kiki Wane and welcome back to my channel. Today's video we're going to be talking about how I achieved this crochet hairstyle. And I know you guys are probably wondering, why is this girl sitting here looking like a two-tone butterfly? Well, if you must know, I did do a tutorial on this makeup look. It is a festive eye look, so if you guys have not subscribed yet, you might want to go ahead and do that now and hit the notification bell because I know you want to be updated when this video drops, and it will be dropping next week. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get into this hairstyle. So this style is basically just a crochet hairstyle with curly hair, and I did 2-strand twist in the front. So the first part of this video, I'm going to go ahead and show you guys the parting technique I used to achieve my 2-strand twist. And then the second part of this video is going to show you guys my braid pattern and also how I crochet the hair in the back. For the very front, you can either do braids or you can do 2-strand twists like I did. But in this video, I will not be showing you guys how to twist or how to braid. I will only be showing you guys the part technique that I use. But if you do want me to give you guys a video on how to braid or how to twist, just let me know in the comments and I'll work on getting one ready for you guys. So for this look, you will need a pack of crochet hair, and the hair that I use is the Glance Water Wave pre-stretched hair in 22 inches, and you will need 1 pack of this. You will also need a crochet hook as well as a pack of small black rubber bands. And for styling products, I just use my Shine and Jam Magic Fingers and my Edge Booster Edge Control. So I did wash my hair last night and I just twisted it down into 4 2-strand twists and let it air dry. I try to use as little heat as possible, so that's how I prepared my hair for this style. So now that I have taken down my twist, we're going to start off by making a part to section off the hair, and I'm going to start by doing an ear to ear part. And in order to get my part straight, I am going to be using a rat tail comb. So now that we have the front part sectioned off, we can go ahead and start with our flat twist in the front. And I'm going to start by making my part. In this instance, I'm going to go ahead and do a side part. You can do a middle part if you want, but the technique that I'm going to be using is going to be strictly based off of a side part. So I'm going to start by just getting my part in place. Okay, so for my very first twist, I'm going to make a triangle shaped part. And I'm going to make sure that the very tip of that triangle starts in the middle of that initial side part that we made. So just for my visual people, think of it as when there's a fork in the road and the road splits off into 2 different ways. That's basically what we're going to be doing with this side part. So you're basically going to split it to where it has one part going one way and another part going another way, and until it makes a triangle shape. So before we start twisting the hair, we want to make sure we apply some form of leave-in conditioner or moisturizer to the ends. And I'm also going to go in with some of my oil mix, and I'm going to apply that to my ends also, just to make sure my hair stays protected. So now I'm just going to apply some of my Shine and Jam around the edges of the part, just to make sure that everything lays smoothly and there's no frizziness. Now you can go ahead and start twisting your first twist or braid, whichever one you decided. And after you get to the very end, you don't have to braid it all the way down to the end or twist it all the way down, because you are going to go ahead and apply a small rubber band just to hold it in place. Okay, so now we're going to start on our second twist. So think of it like a pizza slice. So you're going to make sure the very tip of each twist meets at the center, and the center is going to be that very first twist that you created. That's going to be your guide, and you're going to use that to guide you through the rest of this hairstyle. So when you are making your parts, you also want to make sure you don't make them too straight. You don't want them bone straight. You want to make sure that you follow a curve, just because our head is naturally curved, and you want to make sure you are following the natural curve of your head. So at the very edges, I do like to use my edge booster edge control, and since I'm doing smaller parts, I just put the edge booster on my fingertips just to make it a little easier for me to get it on my edges without messing up my part. So another very helpful tip is when you are doing this type of style or any type of braid or twist style where you need to make parts like this, when it comes to the braiding and the twist, it does not have to be 100% perfect, especially if you're still a beginner. What matters the most is that your parts are straight. If the parts are straight, then the hairstyle is going to come together. So if you need to take a little extra time to make sure that part is laid, you need to go over it a couple times, that is completely fine. Whatever you need to do, just make sure that that part is as straight as you can get it. Now at this point, I just did a quick little twist just so I can make sure that the part was right, or to make sure I didn't need to separate this into two twists. So that's another tip. If you make a part and you're not too sure if it's going to look right, before you actually take the time to twist it all the way, just do a quick little flat twist, just real quick, just to see how it's going to look first. And then if you feel like everything looks okay, then you can go ahead and take the time to twist it out. Alrighty y'all, so we are finally done with this side. This side is always the easiest because it's the smallest side or the smallest section. So now we can go ahead and hop on over to the other side and get started. Alrighty, and again y'all, we're not doing anything different. We're still going to follow that same technique, the same piece of slice technique. Make sure that your twists all meet at the same middle point, and you are using that very first twist to guide you. So at this point, I'm not going to do too much talking. I'm just going to let you guys watch and learn. Everything else has already been explained. So I think from this point, you guys should get the gist of it. So I'm just going to let you guys watch and, you know, just see how everything flows. So one thing you will notice that when you're doing these twists, your first twist that you did, the very first couple, are going to be smaller. It's going to start off small, and as you get towards the outer perimeter, the twists are going to get bigger. So don't be alarmed if you're like, why are these twists bigger than the rest? It's all going to play out perfectly. It's all going to look good in the end. It's just that section is a smaller space to work with, so the twists there are going to be a little smaller. So if you've made it this far and you are still watching this video, I really do appreciate you for taking the time out to watch this. And if you haven't already, please don't forget to subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, and also hit the notification bell so you can stay updated when I upload more videos. And please go ahead and leave me some comments down below. I'll do my best to try to respond. But I really do appreciate you guys for taking the time out, and I just want you guys to recognize the hard work that I put into this, and just go ahead and support me. Go ahead and subscribe and, you know, join my growing family. I would truly appreciate it. And yeah, now we'll go ahead and get back into the video. So while I'm twisting my hair, you will continue to see me push the hair that I have sectioned off over with my hand. I just keep doing that because I want to make sure that I do not pull any other hairs into my twist, because that will mess up my part, and then I'll have to part this whole section over again, and no one's trying to do all that. So, you know, if you have to do that, you know, between each twist, make sure you push the hair over, just to make sure everything stays in place. Alrighty y'all, so we are finally done with the front section. Now I'm just gonna go ahead and take the hair from the twist that we just did, and I'm gonna braid that into one big French braid. And the reason why I'm doing that is because it's gonna kind of serve as a little headband type style for the overall look. And it's just gonna add a little bit of texture. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just braid that down. So after you are done with this braid, you're going to want to make sure you pin it to the side for later, because you don't want to braid this into the next set of braids that we're going to do. So I'm going to start off by detangling my hair, and I'm just going to spray it down with a little bit of water just to make it easier for me to get all the kinks out. And I did also go in with a little bit of my leave-in conditioner and my black castor oil. So now that everything has been combed out, we're going to start with our first braid. Now for the back, we're going to do braids, and we do not have to make the parts perfect because this is literally going to be underneath your crochet. Nobody's going to see it. So the parts do not have to be perfect at all. For this first braid, we're basically going to do an ear to ear braid. And the reason why I like to do my first braid going across from ear to ear is because it makes the crochet sit as close as possible to that very front part. Like, we don't want it to be spaced out. We want it to look natural, and we want everything to be as close to the front as possible. So this part is super easy. We're literally just going to do straight backs. Now you want to do a medium size. You don't want them to be too small. You don't want to be braiding all day, but you don't want them to be too big either. So I'm just going to do medium parts. And again, it does not have to be perfect because it's going to be covered up, but you're just going to do straight backs. And then I'm going to show you the rest of the way how we're going to get everything to connect. So when you get midway through your braid, you're going to grab the end of that first braid and you're going to start braiding it into the second braid. So that way your ends are not hanging out from underneath your crochet and everything is tucked underneath. So when you get to the very last braid, that first braid we did from ear to ear, you want to make sure that you tuck that end into that last braid. And again, you're going to do it midway through the braid, so that way the braid is not lumpy and everything lays smoothly. But you do want to make sure you take that end and you feed it into that very last braid. This is how your braid pattern should look once you're finished. All the ends should be tucked, and then when it comes to this very last braid, we're going to tuck that in, but we're going to use our crochet hook to pull it through the braid that's next to it. So you're just going to open the hook, stick it through, put the end on the hook, close it, and pull it through that second braid. Alrighty, so now we can go ahead and start with our crochet, but before we start, we do want to make sure we oil our scalp very good. So I'm just going in with my black castor oil as usual, and I'm going to make sure I oil my scalp really well. The crochet hair that I'm using is 22 inches, so I am going to cut that in half, and that is going to make sure I only need one pack of hair, and I'm going for a shorter look. And then I'm going to take those ends and I'm going to make sure I stretch them. So that's just what I'm doing here. I'm just taking little pieces and just pulling at them to make sure that the ends are stretched. So when I get ready to crochet, I like to make sure my hook is open before I stick it through my actual hair. When I stick the hook through, I basically loop the hair around my finger and then I pull it through the loop, and I'll do that 2 times just to make sure that it's tight. So I'm going to stick it through, open the hook, close it, pull the hair through my braid, and then loop it around twice. So that's basically it. We're just going to do that all the way through, and I like to move across horizontally when I'm doing this. So I will do this first section, and when I move up to the second section, I don't put the crochets right on top of each other. I do like to make sure they're spaced out a bit, so I usually measure with my index finger. So as long as I can fit my index finger between where the first set of crochets are in the second row, then I know that they're not too close together. Another tip to help this go a little faster, I did start doubling up the hair. So instead of grabbing 1 piece of crochet hair, I grabbed 2 pieces. And that just made the sections that I was working on just a little fuller. And that's also the reason why I left a little space in between each crochet, because since I'm using 2 pieces, I don't want the hair to be too full. So there were a couple spots where I felt like I needed a little bit more fullness. So it is okay if you feel like, you need to go in and add some more hair just to make it as full as you would like it. And once you get the desired fullness, now you're going to go in and you're going to add some layers. If you're not comfortable with adding layers, that's totally fine, but it does help a lot. It gives it more of a natural fro look to it. So I'm just separating some of the curls and going in and cutting the ends just to give it some more texture. The very first braid we did, that braid is not added into the braids in the back, and the reason why I don't like to include it in there is because if I do decide later I want to tighten up a couple twists here and there, it's easier for me to take down that very front part as long as that braid is not tucked in. So I just use a little hairpin and just pin it underneath the crochet. So this part is completely optional, but I love me some hair jewels, so I am going to go in and add a couple jewels, and there's no exact placement for it. I kind of just add it where I feel like it looks good. So, and this one right here, I added it and then I didn't like it. I felt like it was too chunky, so I actually took it out. And last but not least, you have to make sure you lay your baby hairs. It is not even an option. Like, you have to. That's what makes the style come together. I don't like too much baby hairs. I only like to do just a bare minimum, but I do like to make sure my baby hairs are laid. So you want to make sure you go in with your edge control and your edge brush and lay those baby hairs down. Alrighty, my loves, we are finally finished with this hairstyle. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. And again, this makeup look, the video is going to be uploaded next week. So please don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can stay updated. And also leave me some comments down below and thumbs up this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.